Hi, I'm Laika, your instructor for today. In this video, you'll be watching about the illustration of quadratic equation. And I assume that all of you are already encountered or mastered and or developed some skills from your previous lesson. So that skills will help you to understand quadratic equation. So as you go through this video or lesson, think of this important question. How are quadratic equations used in solving real-life problems and in making decisions? So, in this lesson, you'll learn to describe quadratic equation, to write quadratic equation in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, to illustrate quadratic equation in real-life problems. The following are the mathematics equations. Select which are the linear equation. So let's select some equation. As you observe, there are equations that are circled, so that is called linear equation. And the question is, how are these equations different from those which are linear? Or what common characteristic do this equation have? So, the non-linear equation are, or the not uncircled equation are x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0, and so on. And so on. So, as you observe that this equation, which are not linear equation, contains of polynomial degree 2. So, which is called quadratic equation. And to define with, a quadratic equation is one variable is a mathematical sentence of degree 2 that can be written in following standard form: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a should not be 0. In this equation, ax squared is called the quadratic term, and this bx is called linear term, and this c is called constant term. So let's illustrate sort of, and take note, in standard form, a should always be a positive real numbers. And let's illustrate some sort of example. I have here x squared minus 5x plus 3 is equals to 0. This is an example of quadratic equation because it has a degree of 2. Also, this equation is in standard form. In the equation, a is 1, b is negative 5, and 3 is c. So, another example is 1/2 x squared plus 3x is equals to 8. This quadratic equation is not yet in standard form, so we will make it into by standard form using the additional property of equality. So we have 1/2 x squared plus 3x minus 8 minus equals 8 minus 8. So add both sides by negative 8. So our equation becomes 1/2 x squared plus 3x minus 8 is equals to 0. So this is now a standard form. So our a is 1/2, our b is 3, and our c is negative 8. Another is t squared minus 7t is equals to 0. We can see that the equation is since the quadratic equation is standard form, however, it has only two terms and there is no constant term. So automatically that the value of c is 0 and the value of a is 1 and b is negative 7. Another is negative 4m squared plus 4m plus 1 is equals to 0. We can see that the equation is standard form and had a complete term, but the first term, or the a, is negative. Based on the note that in standard form, a should always be a positive real number, so we will make the equation positive. In order to make the equation positive, we need to multiply it by -1. So we have -1 times negative 4m squared plus 4m plus 1 equals to 0. So we come up this equation. We already have 4m squared minus 4m minus 1 is equals to 0. Since a or 4 is already a positive real number, we can now identify the values, and we have a is 4, b is -4, and c is -1. So another 9r squared minus 25 is equals to 0. So it has only two terms. We observe that the equation has two terms, yes, and there is no linear term. As I said earlier, that it's automatically b0. So the values are a is 9, b is 0, and c is -25. So did you get my idea? Alright, let's proceed. So let's work some examples. Example number 1 is 3x times the quantity of x minus 2 is equals to 10. This equation is a quadratic equation, however, it is not written in standard form. To write the equation in standard form, let's expand the product and make one of the equation 0. Alright, so it becomes 3x squared minus 6s equals to 10. Since our goal is to make it standard form, so we'll apply the additional property of equality. So we have 3x squared minus, add both sides by -10. So it becomes 3x squared minus 6x minus 10 equals to 10 minus 10. So we have 3x squared minus 6 minus 10 is equals to 0, and this is our standard form. So yes, again the equation becomes 3x squared minus 6x minus 10 equals to 0, which is in standard form. In this equation, our a is 3, our b is -6, and our c is -10. And example number 2. A ball is thrown straight up. A ball is thrown straight up from 3 meters above the ground with a velocity of 14 meters per second. When the question is, when does it hit the ground? So again, the problem is a ball is thrown straight up from 3 meters above the ground with a velocity of 14 meters per second. So the question is, when does it hit the ground? Alright, so let's solve it together. So from the problem, we gathered this data. The 3 is the height starts at 3 meter. 14t is its travel upwards at 14 meters per second, or 14 m/s. The -5t squared, it's the gravity pulls it down, changing its position by about 5 meters per second squared. Take note that the -5t squared is simplified from -1/2 at squared with an acceleration of 9.8 meter per second squared. Then, next is add them up and the height h at any point t is. So we have h equals 3 plus 14t minus 5t squared, and the ball will hit the ground when the height is 0. So we have 3 plus 14t minus 5t squared is equals to 0. In standard form, it's look like this negative 5 t squared plus 14t plus 3 is equals to 0. So it's look even better when we multiply it by negatives 1. So negative 5, so it's look like this. Negative 5t squared minus 14t minus 3 is equals to 0. So why is it we need to multiply it by negative 1? Because as I said earlier that the quadratic term or this term or quadratic term will always be a negative, or a positive real number, so we need to multiply it by negative 1. Next, so since we gathered all the data and all, let us solve it. So by the way, there are many ways to solve it. Here, we will factor it using the find two numbers that multiply to give the axc and add to give b. This is method in factoring quadratic. So the axc is negative 15 and the b is negative 14. So the factor of negative 15 are many. So these are negative 15, negative 5, negative 3, negative 1, 1, 3, 5, 15. By trying a few combinations, we find that 15 and negative 1 will work. 15 and negative 1 will work. So since we found that 15 and negative 1 will work, we rewrite the middle with negative 15 and 1. So we have 5t squared minus 15t plus t minus 3 is equals to 0. So here it is, negative 15 plus 1. So we don't need to put it 1 because it is already an imaginary. Next, factor the first two and last two. So we have 5t times the quantity of t minus 3 plus 1 times the quantity of t minus 3 is equals to 0. And then their common factor is t minus 3. So we have 5t plus 1 times the quantity of t minus 3 is equals to 0. So the solutions are, or the two solutions are 5t plus 1 equals 0 or t minus 3 is equals to 0. To solve it, we have t is equals to negative 0.2 or t is equals to 3. So the t equals negative 0.2 is a negative time. It is impossible in our case because in real world, there is no negative time, right? Alright, so the t equals 3 is positive. This is positive, so this is the answer that we want. Therefore, we conclude that the ball hits the ground after 3 seconds. Alright, did you get it? Okay, let's proceed. Alright, it's your turn to answer the following question. Question number 1 is, Gerald has a swimming pool that is 20 feet by 30 feet. He wants to have a tiled walkway of uniform width around the edge of the pool. If he purchased enough tile to cover 336 feet, how wide will the walkway be? Again, Gerald has a swimming pool that is 20 feet by 30 feet. He wants to have a tiled walkway of uniform width around the edge of the pool. If he purchased enough tile to cover 336 square feet, how wide will the walkway be? And question number 2 is, the following are the values A, B, and C that Haley and Nicholas got when they expressed 5 minus 3x is equals to 2x squared in standard form. Haley got A values A equals 2, B equals 3, C is equals to negative 5, while Nicholas have A equals negative 2, B is equals negative 3, and C is 5. The question is, who do you think got the correct values of A, B, and C? Justify your answer. And I realized that quadratic equations are used in everyday life, as when calculating areas, determining a product profit, or formulating speed of an object. So, in this video provides you with opportunities to describe quadratic equation using practical situation and their mathematical presentation. Moreover, you were given the chance to formulate quadratic equation as illustrated in some real-life situations. Your understanding of this lesson and other previously learned will facilitate your learning of the next lesson. And that's it. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.